Hi, I'm Katie and welcome to my channel, Heart's Content Farmhouse. Today I want to show you how to make a homemade body cream made out of beeswax and shea butter. So if you're at all familiar with soap making, if you make soap at home already, you probably have a lot of the ingredients that you need to make lotion and body cream. The main components are oil and water. And as we know, oil and water do not mix, so there are a few other crucial things that we need to turn this into an actual usable product. To make any type of lotion or cream at home, you need an emulsifier and a co-emulsifier. There is a really boring science behind this that I'm not going to go into, but you need 2 emulsifying waxes. They are very, very inexpensive, and you can get those at Amazon. I will link below in the description box exactly what I use. They're really affordable. Also, when you combine oil and water and make a lotion, it is really, really susceptible to molding. It will only last a couple days at room temperature, so you would need to store it in the fridge, and even then it would only last a couple weeks. So it's really essential that you use a preservative. A lot of people are resistant to this idea and they want to try things like vitamin E. If you try that, that is up to you, but I always recommend an actual commercial preservative. There's a few different options. The one I use is called Phenonip. It's a little bit more expensive than the emulsifying waxes, but you only need a couple grams for each batch. The final components are, like I said, water and oil. It's recommended that you use distilled water for this. I always just use tap water unless I'm making this to sell. I've never had a problem with tap water. And then what gives the lotion or cream its moisturizing property are the oils and butters that we use. Since today I wanted to make a really thick, rich body cream, I am doing beeswax and shea butter. Shea butter just comes in a big block like this. Beeswax you can get in a block, but it's really, really hard. And when you're working with grams, you want to be able to measure really precise amounts. So that is why I recommend the pellets. They come in like really small little bits. And I will link, I get that from Amazon too, and I will link those below. The other oil that I'm going to use is a liquid oil. I'm using almond oil. You could also substitute apricot kernel oil, even olive oil. Really any oil that's liquid at room temperature is going to work fine for this recipe. For my larger portions of carrier oils like this, I like to use Nurture soap, and I will link to them too. So now we're going to start measuring out our ingredients. The basic way to make this body cream at home is to heat up the water separately and then heat up in a separate container all of your emulsifying agents and your oils, butters, and beeswax. So in one container, we're going to measure out 140 grams of water. Like I said, this should technically be distilled water. And then in a separate container, we are going to measure out our oils and our butters. That's 16 grams of olive oil, 8 grams of shea butter, 8 grams of beeswax, and then we have our emulsifying agents, 14 grams of polawax, and 14 grams of stearic acid. So I heat these up right in the microwave, right in the Pyrex containers, and that works fine. If you don't like to microwave things, you can certainly do this on the stovetop too. You have to make sure that both components are heated up to at least 170 degrees. If you underheat them, they will not emulsify and you will not get a body cream in the end. They have to be hot enough before you proceed. So once you've heated them up, right before you blend, recheck the temperatures, make sure they are still at 170, and then I pour the melted oils right into the hot water container, and we start to blend. You need a stick blender for this recipe or for any other lotion recipe. That helps these two things to emulsify and to form a usable body cream. So it can take a few minutes to get this done. I'm going to show the whole process so you can see how long it takes of blending, and I will speed it up just a little bit, but I'll show you the total time that it took. It can be at least a couple minutes, and that feels like a really, really long time while you're doing it. So what I recommend is that you let the stick blender pulse for 30 seconds, turn it off, and let the motor rest for 30 seconds, and then turn it back on. And keep doing this. First it will start to foam up, and then all of a sudden it will totally change consistency into like a thick body cream, and then you're done. Now, of course, we still have to add the preservative and the fragrance. Fragrance is optional. You're only going to need a couple grams of that. And the preservative, you want 2 grams. So by stirring either with a really clean spatula or by stick blending for just 1 more second. So once this is made, you want to be really careful to keep it clean. It does have the preservative in it, but you still don't want to use your hands to get it into the container. You want to use a spatula that's really clean, or ideally even disinfected in a solution of 90% water and 10% bleach. These are things that you are supposed to do. I never do this if I'm just making lotion for my family. I never disinfect the equipment. But if you're making it to sell, or if you expect to keep it a really, really long time, like over 6 months, I would definitely recommend disinfecting everything before you start. It's still considered best practice. So then you transfer this into a really clean container. You're going to want something shallow. This isn't a pumpable lotion. This is a body cream. It's thick. So what's ideal is a really shallow half-pint mason jar. It makes almost exactly half a pint if you do one batch. You can also get commercially made tins or shallow plastic jars, and those would be great for this. So this is a really rich moisturizing recipe, but it does soak into the skin really nicely with no greasy residue. But the beeswax and shea butter are very nourishing. It makes a great gift, and it makes a great thing just to keep next to the sink or around the house. Now, if you're not comfortable working with the preservatives and you don't want to buy all of the emulsifying waxes, there are other ways to make body creams at home. It's just going to have more of a heavy, greasy feel because there's no water in it. It basically involves heating up oils, letting them cool, and whipping. I do have a video on that. It is a little bit simpler. It's just I prefer the texture of an actual body cream that's made with water as well. Like I said, I will link in the description box all of the tools that I used as well as the full recipe, and if you'd like to print the recipe out, I will put a link to where you can do that too. So I hope this is helpful. If you have any questions, please let me know. I will try to help you, and thank you so much for watching.